That's good. Greetings. My name is Josiana Carmouche. I am going to be conducting a having a session with Stacy Waterford, one of the supervisees. We're going to be discussing the topic of self-awareness. This meeting is to answer the following three questions, which will be answered after the completion of the following literature titled "Why is it important to understand yourself?" A journey to self awareness. I am. This helps one to form the I am of self. Once we complete the literature process, we're gonna I'm gonna ask her general questions, which is gonna lead to open conversation to gain the answers to these three following questions. How would you say you have developed at this point in your career? Do you have any client case ethical dilemmas or practice challenges that you would like to discuss? Are there three? Are there any areas of concern for enhancing clinical skills, self-awareness, and personal growth? Okay, so the first section is what it means to truly know yourself. Have you ever paused and asked yourself, who am I really? The question might seem simple, but finding the answer can take a lifetime. Understanding who you are, truly knowing yourself, is one of the most valuable things you can do. When you understand yourself better, you're able to show up more fully in your own life for the people you love and for the things you want to achieve. Self awareness is a powerful step towards living more authentically and embracing the real you. Ms. Weatherford?
Discovering the core of who you are.
Yes, ma'am.
Peeling back the layers of who you are isn't always easy. It means looking at parts of yourself you love and sometimes parts that feel harder to accept. But each layer you uncover has something to teach you. Getting to the core of who you are can be messy and challenging, yet it's also rewarding. The journey isn't about perfection, it's about knowing yourself well enough to make choices that feel right for you, not just what others expect from you. It's about honoring every piece of yourself, even the parts that feel vulnerable or raw.
Okay. Thoughts, emotions, and values. Our thoughts, emotions, and values shape how we experience the world. They guide our actions and our relationships and how we view ourselves. Taking the time to reflect on these things helps you to understand why you feel and act the way you do. When you can recognize your core values, you're able to live in a way that feels more aligned with who you are. Instead of just reacting to whatever comes your way, you can make choices that feel meaningful and true to you. This is the heart of self awareness, getting clear on what matters most to you and why.
How past experiences shape your present self perception. Take a moment to think about your past experiences. You ever feel like certain memories shape how you see yourself today? Maybe some make you feel strong, while others hold you back. It's normal, we all carry these memories. But what matters is how we choose to deal with these emotions and understand them. Those past experiences, they're part of your story, but they don't have to define your future. When you start looking at them with compassion, you can start untangling old patterns that no longer serve you and move forward with intention. You don't have to get stuck in what happened. You have to use it as a stepping stone to where you want to go.
Okay, so let's stop here. Let's review the one, two, three, four sections that we have went over. And can you tell me what it means to truly know yourself?
But you have to face your past. You have to look at your past and heal from those situations that hurt you. And then once you start healing, you start recognizing who you want to be. And those past stories don't continue in your life because you recognize your parts and your faults in those situations, and then you become more of the person that you meant to be.
And does that help you with your while you're working with your cases?
Yeah, because you're not being defined by your past. You're becoming who you want to be in order to help in your career. And so if instead of being who everybody has told you to be. You're using your own skills and your own heart and your mind and your who you think you should be in this world to help you work with other people.
Do you share this transparency with your clients?
I share the things that are most relevant with my clients. If there's something from my past that would help them to be and get to where they need to be, then yeah, I'll share it with them.
Okay. Okay. We're overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, correct?
Right? Do we need to move that out of the way?
That's no worries. Okay. Why should you know yourself? A person gazed thoughtfully at city lights, symbolizing the importance of self understanding and reflection. When you truly understand who you are, can you face life's ups and downs with a stronger, steadier sense of who you are at your core? Self awareness is like having an inner compass guiding you toward what feels alive and meaningful and steering you away from what doesn't. Self awareness allow you to build a life that fits you beyond the expectation others have set, and that's where true fulfillment comes from, which is exactly what you just shared, as in not being what other people has said that you was going to be. You're being yourself and living up to who you are. Okay, we're on improve emotional regulation.
Okay, think about the times when you've reacted on impulse, only to feel regret afterward. Knowing yourself changes that. When you're in tune with your emotions, you start to notice what triggers you and why. Instead of getting swept up in a wave of intense feelings, you learn to pause, reflect, and decide how you want to respond. Do not confuse this with pushing emotions away. Emotional regulation always or allows you to feel your emotions and lets you learn without letting them control you. With time, you'll find yourself navigating life's challenges with more calm, resilience, and a steady sense of inner peace.
Okay. Stronger and more authentic relationships. Knowing yourself also deepens your relationship. When you're comfortable with who you are, you can show up as your true self. No masks, no people pleasing. You start to communicate more openly and honestly, and setting boundaries becomes a way to respect both yourself and those around you. The more you understand your own needs and values, the easier it becomes to attract and build connections with people who appreciate the real you, and those are the relationships that feel most fulfilling.
Aligned and purposeful decision making. Life will always present you with decisions, some small, some life changing, but when you know you will stand who you are and what you'll stand for, those choices become clearer instead of second guessing yourself or getting swayed by what others want. You'll be able to be in tune to tune in to what feels right for you. There will still be moments of uncertainty. That's a part of life, but you'll have a sense of direction rooted in who you truly are. Making decisions that align with your core values breeds a sense of purpose and confidence, guiding you through even the toughest times.
Okay. Increase confidence and resilience. Imagine what it would feel like to step into each day with a deeper sense of confidence, knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way. When you understand yourself, you begin to build an inner resilience that helps you navigate life's ups and downs. You know what your strengths are, and you trust yourself to grow through challenges rather than them like shrink from them. Life will always bring obstacles, but self-awareness allows you to see them as opportunities for growth rather than threats to your well-being. Confidence isn't about never feeling doubt. It's about feeling capable even when doubt is present. Are there any times when you have encountered a area where a emotional uh, let's say the situation with the client becomes really intense, and that emotional bond that we could have at times, do you ever find yourself struggling with that?
I have in past jobs I have, and I've had to redirect my own mind to be able to handle what I deal with. So with my clients now, if it becomes a sensitive subject or something like we're there's emotional connection to what they're saying or it stresses me out, then I have to redirect myself and realize that this isn't about me, this is about the client.
Mhm.
And so I have to focus on what's being done, whether it be my client being physically aggressive or verbally aggressive.
Mhm.
And so you have to learn to not focus on yourself, but focus on the client because this is what it's about. And so sometimes you just have to stop yourself and pause and just breathe and go, we have to focus on what they're dealing with. And even with their anger or whatever, ask them what they're angry about or ask them what the problem is and don't focus on your own emotions.
So meet them where they're at,
Meet them where they're at,
basically.
right?
Have you ever encountered a situation where the client goes totally against your core values? How would you handle a situation like that?
I've had to deal with that a lot. And in those cases, you kind of have to go out of your own head. For me, I've just had to kind of go along with it because, unless they're hurting themselves, then you can't. But if it's one of those situations where let's just say they're cussing a lot or their behavior doesn't meet up with what you are like, I still be myself, but I don't make a big deal about the things that bother me for them because they're not in the same mindset as I'm at.
Okay.
And so for them to trust me, I have to let them be who they are. And so that's always worked before. And with my clients, I don't get offended as easily because I know that's just who they are right now. And doesn't mean that's where they're going to stay. But in order for them to continue to work with me and trust where I'm taking them or where I'm trying to lead them, you can't always get offended by them.
Okay. So to continue to let your light shine, it's beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. The complexity of self discovery.
A person reads a book in a forest setting, symbolizing self discovery and the importance of understanding oneself. Now, let's be honest, getting to know yourself isn't always easy. You may come up against parts of yourself that feel uncomfortable and or challenging. Maybe it's the expectations you've internalized from others or habits that you've picked up over time. The more you dig into these complexities and with compassion and patience, the more you'll uncover layers of yourself that make you unique. Self discovery is about peeling back those layers and embracing the whole messy, beautiful person you are.
So, with that being said, let's give a scenario. There's a patient where you have put forth your all and it is just not working out. How would you take something like that?
Well, if you've given your all and it's still not working out with you, sometimes you have to refer them to somebody else. But it takes a lot of time of you kind of have to work with them and ask them if there's an issue that you can resolve with them. If there's something that they know is causing the issue with you guys. But if you've done everything you can, sometimes going back to your supervisor and saying like this is not working out, they're not going to do or get any further with me, then you go to your supervisor and just look, I think we need to refer them to somebody else because we're not going to get anywhere.
There seem to be some barriers.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. External expectation and labels. We all carry labels, don't we? The responsible one, the overachiever, the peacemaker. These labels often come from family, friends, or society, and they can shape how we see ourselves, but sometimes they limit us. Two, understanding yourself means asking whether these labels truly reflect who you are or if they're just roles you've slipped into over time. It's about giving yourself permission to step out of the boxes others have placed you in and define yourself on your own terms. Unpacking emotional triggers. That's it.
Okay. Have you ever wondered why certain situations set you off more than others? These triggers can often reveal important insights into your inner world. They might point to past wounds or unmet needs, and by exploring them, you gain more control over your responses. When you feel triggered, it's not a sign of weakness, it's an invitation to dig deeper. Unpacking those triggers isn't easy. but it's an essential step in reclaiming your emotional landscape. You start to respond rather than react, making choices that align with the person you're becoming rather than the person you've been.
Okay. So we're going to use this, make a scenario using this. Let's say you get a case and the situation or the individual is a trigger for something that you have dealt with. How would you handle that?
I've had those situations with past clients that I've worked with. And you have to remember that you're not going in and working with them based on your triggers. And if you're further enough in your own healing, then you've learned that you have to work on client. You have to work with them. And if you can set boundaries with them. You can say, look, this situation, can we talk about why you're angry? Can we talk about what is going on between us right now so that we can resolve this issue so we can move forward? But if you set boundaries and they will not cooperate, then I've gotten to the point with some patients that or clients or whatever that I've said, okay, well, I'm gonna walk away for a while and come back when you're ready to talk to me, or you're ready to resolve so we can move on. But sometimes they don't, and sometimes you have to either have to just go into yourself and change your normality for yourself and how you interact with them, or you just have to come up with something to tease them or to have to make a joke. I've had that happen with patients. Like, I didn't like it and they triggered me and I triggered them or whatever. But if I just turned it around and I joked with them, or they would say they cussed at me, or they were physical, or they reacted because of their own stuff, I would joke about it and I would say something ornery back to them, and then it would get them in that mode. So they would laugh at me, or they would stick their tongue at me, or and so I would just turn it around and focus on their situation, not myself.
Do you think it's a possibility that we're tested every day? Do you think it's a possibility that some of these interactions could be for your own personal growth, to see where you're at?
I do. I think that we get tested in our own lives to see, because usually before I would react to certain behaviors totally the opposite of what I do now. And so when I've been in counseling. So when I was counseling before, he had to do EDMR therapy with me to get me in a different mindset, so I didn't cycle. But I started noticing after time, I started telling my counselor, like, I can recognize now when I'm triggering. And so I stop myself and I go, okay, this isn't about what I've been through. This is about this situation right now. And this is not, we don't have to go back.
Okay.
And so I would just, I think it's a learning tool. It's like those things that we really want to grow in, we face, and we may face it, and people may see things in us we don't see. And then they will point it out. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm working on this, but this was a test to see how I was going to react to what they were saying.
So you shared several times that your personal experience. Do you use your personal experience in your caseloads? Does it help you?
Yeah, it helps me to be able to understand people, and they're human. And just because I have a past and I have pain in my life, they also do. So I always look at how people are acting or how they're behaving, and I just watch for certain things, and I say, I notice that they have pain, or I notice that some people just behaviors that they have in their life, it's not really who they want to be always. It's from their own stuff, and a lot of people in this world are not healed. So, and they're not facing their own past. So we just got to be more compassionate. I feel like this world is just full of people with pain, and yeah. So for my caseload, I always look at my patients or my clients, and I'll just go, this is what they're doing is, and I'll ask them, like, what is bothering you right now, or what are we dealing with and that you're upset about, and I give them time to talk. And sometimes they share with me, and sometimes it's so stuff they don't want to share. But either way, it's okay. And I tell them, like, we don't have to deal with this right now. If it's too hard, it's okay.
Okay. So it allows breakthrough. Great, great. Negative self-talk and limiting beliefs. Let's talk about that little voice in your head, the one that tells you you're not good enough or that you'll never measure up. We all have it, but knowing yourself means recognizing that this voice isn't the truth. It's often a reflection of fear, insecurities, or past experiences that have left a mark. As you start to challenge negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, you start to loosen those grip on your life. You give yourself room to grow and to see yourself in a kinder light. I understand this is not an easy process, and there's no way to silence that voice overnight. But it's time it's time you listen to a new one that believes in you and the possibilities ahead.
Practical steps to start understanding yourself more deeply. Self discovery can feel daunting, but there are gentle steps you can take to explore who you are at your core. Self reflection doesn't have to be a grand, sweeping moment of insight. It can start with small, consistent practices. Try to set aside a few moments or minutes each day to tune in. Ask yourself a question like, what am I feeling right now? Or what do I need today? This simple practice can help you connect with your inner world and uncover insights that might otherwise go unnoticed.
Self-reflection practices, questions to foster insight and growth. One of the most powerful ways to know yourself better is by asking questions. The right questions can guide you to explore aspects of yourself you may have overlooked. Start with open-ended questions like, what do I truly value, or when do I feel most at peace? These questions encourage you to dig deeper, to go beyond surface level thoughts, and to connect with your inner desires, fears, and motivations. There's no rush. Self reflection is a journey that unfolds in its own time.
I would say something about that.
Go ahead.
Is when you first start working on yourself internally, you don't have the answers for that.
Exactly.
You don't have. You're like, the heck? Like, I didn't have a clue who I was. I had no identity except for the identity that was told me, that people told me, or the world told me I was.
Mhm.
So, one thing I would tell clients is if you don't have the answers for that, it's okay. We don't have it. Like, especially when we're younger, we have no clue who we are. I don't care what you've been through or who your parents are. Most of us do not have parents that even knew themselves.
Uh-huh.
So, that process is a long journey. And
Correct.
knowing who you are and figuring, or who you were, and then figuring out who you want to become, we got to take time on that. With that, I'm still working on myself and figuring out things I liked, things I don't like, because you were told who you like, or what you liked, and told who to be all your life.
Exactly.
And so, in order to become the person you were meant to be, you have to take the time, and you have to experience life as this healed person, or as this healing person, to figure out those things. Because I mean, like, a lot of us don't have a clue. I mean,
Right.
for years I used to go out to eat with people. And they're like, where do you want to go out to eat? And I'm like, wherever you want to go out to eat. It's fine.
Then yeah, we
And that's
saying
just an
people
example.
pleasing,
We were
right?
people pleasing. We were like, I don't know what I like, so I'm just gonna do what you do.
Okay.
I still catch myself doing that when I go out to eat with people, because I'm like, they'll order, and I'm like, oh, I'll just get what you got, and I don't give myself a chance to process and go, no, you probably like something else.
Right.
So you catch yourself, once you start healing, you catch yourself in those moments. You're like, what are you doing? You have a right to like something different. You have a right to order something different, or to choose some other place to go. Or it's a process, and it doesn't matter what you're doing in your life. If you're really healing, you're going to start noticing these little things that's going to drive you crazy.
Yes. Yes. It's kind of like when I was talking about the negative self talk. We
Mm-hmm.
hear this negative statements all the time. And when you start hearing something positive or constructive, you don't know how to handle it. You don't know how to take it. It's just like, oh my God. And with that process, by allowing someone to pick your meal for you, you're not allowing yourself to think for yourself because you're so used to somebody saying it to you or thinking for you.
Yeah, it's like I complimented somebody this week, and I saw myself in her when they told me I was beautiful, and I said thank you. And when I said it back to her, she was like, "Oh no, I'm not. I'm old."
Oh,
And I was like, I saw myself, and I was like, dang, that's what I was before I started working on myself.
Right.
And we still go back to that every time we have to catch ourselves and go, no, thank you. And it felt uncomfortable for me to say thank you, but I did.
Right.
So.
Do you have that kind of interaction with the clients?
Yeah, because it's with clients, it's the same way. Like, even them, they don't always know why they do the things they do. So you have to, for me, I just encourage them. I try to speak life into them, and some of them can't receive it. And so with clients, you just have to look at them and go, it's okay. Like, if you don't feel it, it's still okay. You will feel it eventually. And, and even working with them, you don't always understand. You don't see it. They don't see it when however they're reacting. They don't always know how to deal with their own emotions.
Right.
So in order to help them with that, you go, it's okay to feel angry. Your emotions are okay. It's okay to feel happy. It's okay to feel sad. You don't have to step it anymore. Not with me. So, and I'll share when I see clients like that, I'll share different parts of my life with them and go, I was really mad that year. And I didn't know how to communicate it to people. So I stepped it way down. But you don't have to do this, Stacy. This is who I am, and I'm going to tell you things because I want you to grow out of that stuff and realize it's okay to be you.
Right. Be yourself. Okay. Where are we at?
And we're on this.
Tools for.
Yeah, I'll read. Tools for self-awareness, journaling, mindfulness, and meditation. There are many ways to explore your inner landscape, and different tools can offer you different insights. Journaling can help you capture your thoughts, emotions, and experiences, giving you a written record to look back on and learn from. Mindfulness and meditation, on the other hand, allows you to sit with yourself in the present moment, help to quiet the mind and create space for self-awareness to grow. The Mentally Strong method also provides a structured approach to this journey, guiding yourself to organize and understand your thoughts and choices. It's all about finding what resonates with you. There's no right or wrong way to connect with yourself.
True.
I was thinking about that, though. I was reading it, and I was like, the generation that is behind us now, it's all about the computer.
Yes.
And so I would encourage people also to look for other ways, because the kids behind us, they're on social media. So maybe making a video like this and having a folder for them of their experiences and talking things out, because I talk to myself all the time. So I was just thinking, they may not like to journal. I love to write. So there's difference there. But a lot of these kids coming up, they're all about social media. So encouraging them to go make videos of yourself every night and make videos of the things you're struggling with and get your emotions out, even on camera. And then you can go back and look at it and go, look how far I came.
Right. Exactly.
Because we have to think about the generations after us or behind us, because they're all doing things different. All the things they think is normal, we have no clue what they're talking about. At least I don't.
I'm with you. Developing a personal vision. Who do you want to be? Take some time to reflect on who you want to be. What kind of person do you envision becoming? What values do you want to guide your choices? Creating a personal vision gives you a guide on who you want to be, like a North Star that can lead you back to what truly matters, even when life feels uncertain.
In our job, sometimes we have to ask the clients that. They don't expect that from us. And so sometimes if we give them that kind of thing and let them, that's how we can get them to talk.
Like grounding.
Yeah. And so I was just thinking with our clients, even asking them open-ended questions and letting them open up to us that way would be a good thing to get them even thinking about that, because they probably don't.
Because most of the time we have our own answer. So that's the purpose of it. You're right.
And we don't hear them because we're already talking.
Yes. Now, oftentimes I've dealt with individuals where they're asking me a question and literally answering their stuff at the same time. And I'll tell them, say that again. Say that again. Say that again. And they're like, oh. And it's so funny. They're like, oh. Like our innate, our spirit connection with God guides us. We just have to learn how to listen. And we're not listening. So you're right. Yes. Let's see where we're at. Mapping out your emotion and reactions. Understanding yourself means paying attention not only to what you think, but also to how you feel. Notice the emotions that arise in different situations and how they influence your actions. You might start to see patterns, times when certain emotions consistently come up. By mapping out your emotions, you can gain insight into how they shape your reaction and can begin to make choices that feel more aligned with your true self. It's about responding with intention rather than letting emotions stir the ship. So this it's very enriching. We work with a lot of individuals that's struggling emotionally, mentally, uh, homelessness, drug addiction, you name it, they're going through it, and the level of emotions is like a roller coaster. And with that roller coaster ride, sometimes we have to put on the seatbelt and ride that ride with them. How would you handle if you on one of those major roller coaster rides?
I would. You have to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just react because they're already emotional and reacting to whatever they're dealing with in their mind. So we can't be another reactor because you're going to make it worse for them.
Right, right.
So you just have to be calm and try to work through and ask them open-ended questions so that maybe they can resolve what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Which will go back to the previous section where
Mm-hmm.
it's just basically help them ground themselves,
Right.
bring them back. Okay. Setting boundaries aligned with your true self. That's yours.
Understand your limits and set boundaries that honor them. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out, they're about protecting your peace and ensuring that your needs are met. Reflect on the areas of your life where you feel stretched too thin or compromised. By setting boundaries, you give yourself a space to thrive and grow. It's an act of self respect, a way of saying, I value myself enough to honor what I need.
Okay.
A lot of this, it's hard because, especially in the workplace, everybody's so busy and doing their own thing that even when you set boundaries, they don't always get respected.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a hard one for me in some instances, but especially with my clients, if they weren't respecting my boundaries, I had to found that if I gave them space and said, okay, since you aren't being respectful or you're having this behavior right now and you need my help, I'm going to give you a few minutes. Now not I'm not abandoning you, but I'm going to give you a few minutes, and if you when you're ready for me to help you, I'm going to come back and we're going to try it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I found in my instances with my clients that I had, it made them slow down and think about what was going on. Now there were
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it didn't, but and the one client that I had that was really just mean and hateful, and I just look at him and go, I'm here to help you. I'm not here to be talked to like that. So I'm going to give you some space, and I'm going to come back in a little bit and we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed when I came back that his attitude totally did 180, and he knew I cared, and I let him know I cared. And the more that I showed him who I was and I was kind to him, and he found out personal things about me, then he started liking me.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we have to
So you don't reward bad
back
behavior.
with.
You actually take away from them what they truly want, and that's your attention.
Mhm.
How would you handle a boundary issue in the workplace?
You mean with other employees?
Yes.
That's the difficult one because everybody's trying to help clients, and so a lot of people just try to run over you in the workplace. And I guess with other employees, with the clicks and the things that we deal with,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's you can try to set boundaries, but some people don't care. And so in the past it's been hard because I worked in nursing homes. I was a CNA, so I needed that other CNA to help me.
Okay.
But there was a lot of times that it didn't matter what you said; they were going to do what they did. In the nursing homes, it's different because you have to get the job done. I mean, just like with any clients in facilities. So I would try to work through things with people, but I found a lot of situations where it wasn't workable. And so I would go to my supervisor and just say, look, I've tried this way and this way and this way, and I've been kind and I'm being, you know, respectful, but this is not going to get resolved. So maybe you can talk to them and figure out how to resolve the situation. I mean, I don't know what to do when you get into situations with people and you work with them and you have to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just be honest. I don't know besides going to your supervisor. I mean, you try and try, but some things don't get resolved.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say you had a colleague work underneath you on a case and that individual was crossing boundaries. How would you handle that?
Meaning that I'm above them. Like,
Yes.
I would communicate to them. I mean, after so many times, let's go. Is there an issue between us? Is there something I'm not seeing that you're frustrated with? And let them communicate to me and just tell them, like, I'm on your side. I'm not here to fight against you. I'm here because we're supposed to be a team. So is there something that we need to resolve, or something that I'm not doing that I'm not seeing to help resolve this issue between us?
Okay.
So I would just take it that way and hope that they can communicate it to me, because
and pray.
Pray. Yeah, we always got to pray. That's
okay. Accepting change as part of your growth journey. Self-discovery isn't a destination, but a continual process of growth and transformation. As you learn more about yourself, you may find that your values, goals, and needs evolve. Embrace this change. It's a sign that you're learning, growing, and becoming even more attuned to who you are. It's okay to change your mind, to shift your priorities, and to pursue new paths. Each step of the journey brings you closer to a life that reflects your true self.
embrace who you are every step of the way. Self acceptance is a powerful thing. It allows you to love yourself just as you are, even as you work towards becoming who you want to be. Embrace your unique story, your experiences, and the lessons you've learned along the way. You don't have to wait until you reach some ideal version of yourself to feel worthy. Every step you take, every small victory, and every challenge overcome is a testament to your strength and resilience. You are worthy right now, exactly as you are.
I want to ask you a question on this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you had a case and you've accomplished 10 steps with this individual, and the final the final part fell apart and we lost that client. What would be your mindset on that?
Now, I've realized you can't save everybody. We want to, and like we pray and we seek guidance and we ask for guidance and we do everything we can, but we can't carry them on us. We can't take it home.
Hmm.
We can't let it become such a fight that if we lose a fight, that we can't come back from it because we still have other clients to deal with.
Okay.
So that's I've worked with death since I was 19 years old, working in nursing homes. And so, yeah, we get sad when people die, but I always said we're all born and we all die,
Mm-hmm.
and so how I dealt with death, and that's just like lost to me,
Mm-hmm.
is we do what we can and we are there for them and we fight for them and we pull them as far as we can pull them. But in the end, if they don't make it, then we can't force them. We can make them want better for themselves.
Okay. The reason I asked that question, I just want to see how you handle a situation like that. As the words say, faith is as big as a mustard seed.
Mhm.
So if you have achieved 10 steps with them, reward yourself because you have achieved 10 steps with them. Unfortunately, that final part did not work out, but look at all that you did do.
You gotta be
And
proud of yourself.
and somewhere along the line, you planted a seed.
Mhm.
And that next part of their journey, that seed may begin to sprout.
Yeah, you may just started, and that's true. You may have just started and planted something in them, and it may take somebody else to actually watch it
Yeah,
grow
to
and watch it
water
bloom.
it. Yeah,
But
yes.
you don't always know,
Right.
and yeah, that's a good example because I have seen that happen. I've watched and went through things with people, and then they fall from my life, and then later on I find out somebody else came in their life that helped them see things differently, and it grew them.
Similar to us.
Hmm.
Right. Okay. Is it on me?
I can read that one. Finding peace and confidence in who you're becoming. There's a confidence that comes from knowing yourself deeply. It's a sense of peace that allows you to move through the world with grace, grounded in your truth. As you continue on this journey of self discovery, good one. That's really good
That kind of
because,
falls back on what we were just talking
yeah,
about
and
too.
then I was thinking about a recent friend that his dad was telling me that he does all this silly stuff and goes back and does this and that he knows better than doing. And I'm like, yeah, but he's not, he's falling back because he's being tested.
Hmm.
And hopefully he will outgrow that part of his life, but it frustrates his dad because that's his dad,
Hmm.
and we've all done it. And that's the way I look at him. I'm like, I was trying to become this person, but just like, we're not going to get there all at once.
Hmm.
And as a father, it's hard to watch your son go through that. But as your friend, I can speak life into you and I can go, you know what? We fall back because we're being tested. We fall back because our old habits
Right.
attack us. And we're just like, oh, we'll just do it one more time. We'll just make this choice one more time.
Hmm.
But it's hard to see that as a father. Because I've seen my kids go through things like that. And but, I think we got to speak life into people. We got to remind them like this, you want better for yourself. You may fall back, but give yourself grace. It's okay.
Right.
You got to give yourself grace and forgive yourself and just know yesterday was yesterday.
Hmm.
We only have this moment. We don't know if tomorrow's going to be here.
Right.
So, you got to just go on from there. And
Well, as a caseworker, we are more or less, our attachment isn't as close knit as the father or a girlfriend or a friend. So that intertwine between us can it can flow much better.
right.
That personal attachment causes a lot of hindrance and it blinds each other with this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with us, we're looking for what is right, what is right, what is right, what is right. Gotcha.
I agree. It's interesting because there's so many people. It's like, yeah, it is right because like with these clients that we have, their families, they do focus on the negative.
Right.
And then as employees, we got to remind them, no, look what she did, look what he did, look at the good that he did today, or look what he, you got to look for the positive in every day. Look how he handled this situation, or how he would have handled it before this way, but look, he's growing or she's growing, and it's just little things like they
Right.
didn't cuss today, they didn't
Exactly.
physically be aggressive today, or they could have done this, but look what they did,
Right.
or they're learning to cope this way,
Right.
and it
Right.
takes time. It's just like, especially with teenagers, and then they got all their emotions, their hormones, and craziness that we all went through. Yeah, it's not fun,
They're
but
a piece of
it's
cake nowadays. The path to self understanding. Understanding yourself is an ongoing journey, one that deepens as you explore your values, your emotions, and the patterns that shape your choices. As you grow in self awareness, you'll find greater confidence, resilience, and a sense of alignment with who you truly are. Remember, this process isn't about achieving perfection, it's about finding comfort and strength in your own story. If you're ready to take the next step, consider tools like the mentally strong method, which can guide you to think, organize, and choose with clarity. Embracing a method that helps you move forward with intention can make all the difference in creating a life that feels authentically yours. So, we went through this literature. Basically, it helps me as a supervisor. I like to do one on ones with each of the individuals that's working with me. It helps me to know more about you, know how to place you, what clients would be best fit for you, what's your temperament, what's where your strengths are, where your weaknesses at. And so this allows me to listen to you express who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Okay.
Makes total sense.
So we're going to go back to the three questions. With all that we read, how would you say you have developed at this point in your career?
I would say that I'm growing in a lot of areas. I do see things I need to work on, and I appreciate when my bosses are upfront with me. I am not good at surface level stuff.
Right.
So anybody that sees things I need to work on, I want them to pull me aside and go, can you think about it another way? Can you look at it this way? Because we all come from different ways of life and different upbringings and then traumas ourselves. So I can tell you the things that I'm not good at, but then I don't see some things. And so I want somebody who's going to be and see me and be upfront. So that's important to me.
Okay, so if I were to go to you and say that I think that you're a good fit for this, but yet you're thinking that you're not, would you move forward?
I would tell you to push me out of my comfort zone. Come on, Stacey, you got this. Like, that's what I need.
Okay.
I mean, because there's a lot of things going on in my life right now that I'm not comfortable with. But I also have the mentality like if you're scared of something, you need to push yourself through it.
Okay.
And so I push myself a lot, but sometimes I don't push myself hard enough.
Okay.
So yeah, I need somebody to cheer me on a minute and just say, get out of your head.
Okay, got you. So as people, we all make mistakes, including myself. Let me ask you this. If there's a situation and you have a broader understanding of the circumstances and I'm going in the opposite direction, would you confront me about it?
I wouldn't do it in front of people. I would ask if I could speak with you and just say, like, with all due respect, this is what I see, but this is what I know. Like, I see where you're going with this, and I think it's wonderful. But the thing maybe you don't know is this part of the story, and this is what they've shared with me, and I think this might help the situation, because I don't want to disrespect my boss.
Right.
And so I would be very careful about how I said it because I don't want to sound like I know better than everybody else because I don't. But I would want to share those things that might help the situation with that client.
But that tidbit of information that you have could be the tipping scale for the success of that client.
Right.
So that's why I want to know if you would confront me with it. And I respect you for saying yes. Okay. Do you have any client cases, ethical dilemmas, or practice challenges that you would like to discuss?
I think I'm doing better with this now, but in the past situations, so let's say 5 years ago, I did not deal well at that job at the time with aggression. And so right now I don't have any, but back then, I mean, this is just something for you to think about from another employee's point of view. Because a lot of times we get put in positions from hiring managers and things like that we always worry about the clients, and we have to, and that's part of the job. But some employees do not do well with aggression like I didn't back then.
Okay.
And so I would just, for me right now, I think we're good here, but for other employees, they sometimes cannot deal with certain patterns or certain things because of their own triggers.
Right.
So I would just say, like, and I know you do this, like if you're listening to where I'm at, and a lot of jobs they don't. They just put you whatever, and you try to talk to them, and they don't have anybody else, so they're just like, deal with it, and then ends up in a bad situation.
Right.
So no, I'm good because you listen and you're working through this stuff with me.
Everybody has a gift. Everybody has a perfect fit, and by intertwining that the way we need, we make the big picture.
Right.
Okay, are there any areas of concern for enhancing clinical skills, self awareness, and professional growth?
Well, anything that would enhance my growth in this job, such as school or, you know, um, courses, just certificates or whatever. I'm always interested in that. So if you have something that you want me to grow in or somewhere you want me to grow in and you have, classes or whatever on it, then I would want you to tell me.
Okay. What if I was to tell you that my goal for today from this session was to offer you the position as my personal assistant?
Then I would say, are you sure? I would say, tell me what that requires. Tell me where you would need me to do. I know I need to know what that means for me. Like,
The caseloads are heavy, a lot of hours, there's a lot of wear and tear. Would you be willing to do this?
I definitely would.
Yes?
Yes.
I love your transparency. Thank you so much for allowing me to have this session with you, Miss Waterford. Uh, it's been a blessing. God bless you. Miss Waterford. Okay. Please be long enough. Please, please. I think it was.